In the previous episode, we saw how Ruth, dazed and overwhelmed by the intensity, muttered, "My body feels so much lighter. So amazing." Up next, Miss Ruth, she screamed in panic, her voice trembling as she saw an illusion of her head severing from her body. Leping quickly intervened, waking her from the nightmare. "Miss Ruth, the bone-setting techniques in the book are highly specialized. Do not attempt to imitate them carelessly. You could seriously harm yourself." Miss Ruth nodded solemnly, her fear still evident. Her cultivation attempt had failed, causing her to regress from Demon King 4 stars to Demon King 3 stars. The realization struck her hard. It wasn't my charm magic that worked. From the start, it was my soul being drawn into Leping's book world. A sense of unease crept over her. Did he know all along? Did he deliberately leave a small flaw to warn me? She wondered. Greed has its price. Everything gained must now be returned. Yet, temptation lingered. The legendary hero had laid treasures and opportunities before her, ripe for the taking. How could she simply walk away? Resolutely, she placed her hand on another book, Campus Memories. Intricate Relationships. In this new illusion, Leping assumed the role of a campus student, while Miss Ruth became a professor. Approaching him with a seemingly kind smile, she asked, "Leping, are you feeling tired after studying for so long? Allow me to check your work." Leping, undisturbed, replied, "There's no need, Professor. I've already completed my assignments and am now working on creating my own problems." Curious, Miss Ruth leaned closer. "Oh? Let me see the kinds of problems you've created that even I, as your teacher, might find difficult." As she examined his work, her eyes widened in astonishment. Intricate diagrams and challenging scenarios filled the page. 1. Given. A triangle with specific conditions. Determine the unknown angle. Given. 2 semicircles inside a quarter circle with a radius of 4. Calculate the shaded area. Given. A triangle divided into 4 parts by 2 straight lines, with 3 areas provided. Find the remaining area. 4. Given. A small circle tangent to the radius of a quarter circle with an upper tangent length of 12. Determine the shaded area. Miss Ruth gasped in awe. These diagrams, they aren't ordinary. These are magical circles. How ancient and profound. Just observing them exerts a powerful, invisible pressure. If I could master these, I might uncover the truth of the universe itself. But they're far too complex. Leping glanced at her reaction and stated matter-of-factly, "These problems can be solved with basic middle school geometry." Perhaps the explanation wasn't detailed enough? Miss Ruth, stunned, quickly responded, "Leping, don't overexert yourself. You should take a break. It's important to relax now and then." At that moment, Leping's phone rang, interrupting the conversation. He stood up, picked up the call, and casually informed her, "Professor, my girlfriend is looking for me. I need to leave now." Miss Ruth froze, her expression shifting from shock to fury. "What? You brought your phone to school? And you're dating?" Leping turned to Miss Ruth and smiled. "Come on, it's all fake. We graduated a long time ago. I only dream about this stuff when I'm stressed. Don't believe me? I can recite the entire table of derivatives and integrals for you." As he spoke, countless math problems began to swirl in Miss Ruth's mind. Her head throbbed with intense pain. Clutching her head, she begged, "Please, Leping, stop. My head hurts." Overwhelmed by the pain, she fell to her knees, her mind clouded with confusion. These spells are supposed to make people feel stressed, but they shouldn't cause me such great harm, she thought. This feeling, it's as if someone is forcibly digging out the sadness buried deep in my heart. Through her tears, she saw Leping outside the classroom, holding hands with Elizabeth, enjoying a moment of peace. Desperate, she called out to him, "Leping, help me." But Leping, engrossed in his time with his girlfriend, didn't hear her. Suddenly, the rhythmic sound of a wooden fish drum echoed in the air, breaking the illusion and releasing Miss Ruth from her unbearable pain. Leping walked over, took the book from her trembling hands, and placed it on the table. Handing her the wooden fish drum, he said, "Don't read this book. Honestly, it's a bit embarrassing. It's a collection of geometric relationship problems, but as I kept writing, it somehow turned into a pure love high school story. Miss Ruth's eyes filled with tears as she stared at him. Mr. Leping, you said pure love? Is that what it is? Overwhelmed with emotion, she realized why sadness had poured uncontrollably from her heart. So it's pure love. No wonder these feelings have been stirred up again. It turns out that memories of her past came flooding back. She recalled her younger days as an adventurer, traveling with her beloved captain. One day he had proposed to her, kneeling with a red rose in hand. "Rose," he had said, "please give me the chance to take care of you forever." Miss Ruth had accepted his proposal with joy, her heart filled with love. She had truly believed they would live a happy life together, but those dreams were shattered. In a cruel twist, the man she loved betrayed her. One night, he struck her and forced her into an unforgivable act. He ordered her to sleep with the guildmaster. Shaking with anger and heartbreak, she had asked him, "Didn't you promise to take care of me? Why would you betray me like this? Why did you choose the guild leader over me?" His response was cold and calculated. "If I don't keep the guild leader happy, I won't qualify for the advanced dungeon team. Without money, how can I take care of you?" From that moment, her world fell apart. After being forced into submission, she awakened the power of charm. To survive, she wandered the brave continent, using her charm to manipulate men and absorb their magical energy. With each act of depravity, her power grew stronger, earning her an invitation to join the Dark Guild, where she became a pillar demon executive. But beneath her strength lay a broken heart. Everything she did was an attempt to forget the pure love she longed for. She realized now how far she had strayed. Trying to calm herself, Miss Ruth began tapping gently on the wooden fish drum. As she did, a golden aura surrounded her, its warmth soothing her pain and filling her with a sense of clarity. Leping, surprised, asked Miss Ruth, "What's happening?" Miss Ruth's entire body became surrounded by a golden aura, her form glowing brighter with each passing moment. Her outfit transformed into the attire of a nun, and she began to float gently in the air. Leping, stunned, stammered, "Miss Ruth, how did you suddenly transform?" Smiling warmly, Miss Ruth replied, "Thank you, Leping, for waking me up. I've realized my purpose. I will take on this mission again, to spread the power of pure love across other universes and combat the forces of evil." Before Leping could say another word, Miss Ruth vanished into thin air, leaving him bewildered. Leping scratched his head and muttered, "I really don't understand how you people from other worlds think." Meanwhile, deep within the demon realm, atop a craggy mountain, a mutated rat was scavenging for strange substances embedded in the ground. Suddenly, a mutated cat, equipped with dark gear on its head, launched a stealthy attack. The cat swiftly killed the rat and began feasting on its remains. However, the strange substance the rat had been eating came to life, writhing and transforming into fleshy tendrils. These tendrils latched onto the cat, engulfing its body and absorbing it entirely. The tendrils then retracted into a hole in the ground, carrying their spoils into the darkness. Inside the hole were two glowing pink eggs, pulsating with an ominous light. In front of the eggs sat an old man, Malfoy. His frail, weakened body rested on the cold ground as he carefully monitored the energy and nutrition being funneled into the eggs. These eggs contained Elizabeth's clones. Malfoy, lying helplessly, replayed Amelia's memories in his mind. His thoughts were tinged with envy as he muttered, "How fortunate Lady Amelia is, being His Majesty's contract steed and spending so much time with him. I'm envious. So envious." Through Amelia's memories, Malfoy discovered that Elizabeth was still alive and living happily with the legendary hero. Seeing Elizabeth's unchanged, radiant appearance after so long, he whispered, "His Majesty, still as gorgeous and captivating as ever." Just as he was lost in these thoughts, a figure approached from behind. It was number 24, who called out, "Master, Samawi and Ruth have been gone for a while now. Do you think they've already betrayed us? Shouldn't we take action?" Number 24 studied his master's deteriorated condition. Ever since the guild fell into ruin, Master has been hiding here. Malfoy, his gaze still fixed on Amelia's memories, replied indifferently, "It doesn't matter. If they want to leave, let them. We don't need to do anything." Number 24 hesitated, then continued, "Master, I must also report that your avatar in the elf tribe has recently lost contact. There are rumors that the elf tribe has been overtaken by the Card Guild. Malfoy remained unfazed, his voice calm. The magic power of the Golden Dragon King has long since been drained. If it's gone, it's gone. None of it matters. Number 24, concerned, pressed further. Master, even though you know the Demon Queen's whereabouts, you haven't taken any action at all. Is this truly fine? You've worked so hard to build power, yet now everything is slipping away. Malfoy smirked faintly. At least I've caught her attention, haven't I? Why else would Her Majesty Elizabeth send Amelia to kill me? Watching his master sink deeper into despair, Number 24 thought to himself, is it because the guild is gone? Is that why Master is so devastated and unable to recover? No, I must find a way to help him pull himself together. Before he could speak further, the entire cave began to shake violently. Malfoy immediately sensed an overwhelming pressure in the air. Number 24's face turned pale as he exclaimed, "Master! It's her! She's back!" Malfoy nodded grimly. "Of course I know, but in my current state," he paused, trembling. "I can't let her see me like this." Elizabeth sat alone, her tears streaming down her face as she reflected on Leping's infuriating response. Frustration welled up inside her. Rules, rules. Even to my creator, my emotions are nothing more than cold, unfeeling rules. Her tears fell to the ground, and as they touched the soil of the demon realm, something miraculous occurred. The wasteland, barren for so long, began to bloom with life. Plants sprang up, the air filled with vitality, and the once dead land transformed into a lush green paradise. Elizabeth, still seated on the ground, wiped her tears and scolded herself. How pathetic. How could I have become so weak? It's my own wishful thinking, and I'm even sad about it. She clenched her fists and made a decision. I'll live just fine without them. Losing someone like me, someone irreplaceable, is their far greater loss. This king will never return unless Leping himself takes the initiative to ask me back. Just as she steeled her resolve, a familiar presence washed over her. She stood abruptly, her senses sharpening. This is Amelia's presence. She's clearly here in the demon realm. But why hasn't she completed the task I assigned her yet? Without hesitation, Elizabeth soared into the sky, scanning the demon realm for Amelia. Along the way, she encountered countless monsters, animals corrupted by the Dark Gear's power. Her fury burned as she eliminated them one by one, removing the Dark Gear from their bodies and crushing it into pieces. "This filthy magic is everywhere," she muttered. "I'll clean it up quickly. Even though I should stay out of it as an observer." She paused, shaking her head. "Snap out of it, Elizabeth. You're not tied to him anymore. Let him do whatever he wants. Focus on your responsibilities." As she continued, she noticed a sinister-looking cave emanating Amelia's presence. Suspicion clouded her thoughts. Why is Amelia hiding here? Could she have accepted this filthy magic in her pursuit of power? If so, I've greatly overestimated her. Elizabeth descended and called out aggressively, her voice echoing through the cave. "Amelia! Show yourself!" However, Amelia, still in her egg form, couldn't hear Elizabeth's voice. Growing impatient, Elizabeth summoned her demonic hand, her thoughts racing. "Amelia is bound to me by an absolute servant-master contract. She cannot disobey me unless something has happened to her. But no, that's impossible. Amelia has ascended to the Demon King tier, and as a golden dragon, her innate talent surpasses anyone else's. Even against opponents of the same rank, she should be able to retreat unharmed." Her suspicions mounting, Elizabeth attacked the cave with her demonic hand, forcefully grabbing the glowing pond nearby. Using her magic, she squeezed the pond with her demonic hand, breaking the dark magic that bound Amelia. Elizabeth cast a powerful spell to release Amelia from her egg form, transforming her back into her human form. But what Elizabeth saw shocked her. Amelia's body was frail, her life force withered, and her magic completely drained. Elizabeth's expression softened with concern. "I underestimated the Dark Guild. They've reduced Amelia to an empty shell." She leaned forward and kissed Amelia's forehead, casting a resurrection spell. "Come back. 1,000 years worth of life." Golden light enveloped Amelia, restoring her body and granting her 1,000 years of life. Slowly, Amelia opened her eyes, but as she looked at Elizabeth, confusion clouded her gaze. Amelia asked weakly, "Who am I? What is my name?" Elizabeth froze, her eyes glowing crimson with frustration. Her soul and memories, they're gone. Fury surged within her as she clenched her fists. "This Malfoy, you dared to steal Amelia's soul and memories? I will find you and destroy you completely." Elizabeth, consumed by rage, activated her most powerful technique, the gaze of the Demon Queen. Her magic swept across the world, creating an oppressive pressure that was felt by all. In the demon realm, Anne, who was battling demons, sensed the overwhelming power and thought, "Sister Elizabeth has come to the demon realm too? Is it because I broke the seal of the 9-headed demon serpent?" Meanwhile, at the Sword Saint Guild, the members also felt the immense magical presence. Blue Sword turned to the guild master and exclaimed, "There's a powerful magic force monitoring us." The guild master, unfazed, replied, "Don't worry, I know exactly who it is." Elsewhere, in the elf village, Mr. Burrs felt the pressure as well and murmured, "The Demon King, is she here to check if we're properly tending to the sacred tree?" In the Dark Sea, the King of the Dark Sea panicked. "We've been spotted. Retreat to the depths for now. The time for confrontation is near." His clone, however, rebuked him. "Can't you hold off your urges for once?" Back at Leping's house, Holy Sword Alpha and Wang Kai also sensed the powerful energy. Wang Kai glanced at Alpha and said, "Stop meddling. Once we collect the protection fee, we're heading home." Meanwhile, Leping was at home, tears streaming down his face as he chopped onions. Crying, he muttered, "We've been apart for so long, I can't stop crying whenever I think about it." Suddenly, far away, a hero with a sword examined his system and remarked, "Is this a provocation? Should we attack now?" Before the mystery could unfold, the scene shifted back to Elizabeth. Elizabeth smiled, satisfied with the results of her technique. She saw Leping crying through her magic and thought, "Just now, he said he's been crying non-stop since we've been apart? That stubborn fool! I'll catch him red-handed this time." But she quickly shook off the thought. "This isn't the time for that. I need to focus on Amelia." Hugging the weakened Amelia, she softly said, "Don't worry, I'll help you get your memories back." Meanwhile, Malfoy, realizing Elizabeth might discover him, quickly used teleportation magic to transport himself and the Elizabeth clone to the Demon King's training grounds. Number 24, confused, asked Malfoy, "Why did we teleport here?" Malfoy replied, "I've set up a barrier here that counters Her Majesty's magic. She won't be able to find us." Still puzzled, Number 24 asked, "But why? Isn't Demon Queen Elizabeth your ultimate goal?" Malfoy nodded. "Exactly. Because she's so important, I need to be at my peak before meeting her. And right now, it's not the right time." Number 24 pressed further. "Is there anything I can do to help, Master?" Malfoy shook his head with a small smile. "There's no need. This is about patience now. Whoever holds out the longest will win. When the clams fight, the fisherman benefits. When the mantis stalks the cicada, the oriole is behind. I've waited so many years, and time is the one thing I have plenty of." He turned back to his favorite pastime, viewing Amelia's memories. "Besides, I can ease my longing for Her Majesty by looking through Amelia's memories. Honestly, I'm lucky." Number 24, however, was uneasy. "Easy for you to say, Master, but how can you just wait idly? If the Sword Saint Guild keeps growing in power, it will definitely affect your plans. Something has to be done before it's too late." Back at Leping's house, he finally finished chopping the onions and prepared a pot of onion soup with garlic bread. Wiping his eyes, he thought, "If I couldn't make pudding, maybe Elizabeth's favorite onion soup will cheer her up. If she likes it, maybe she'll forget her anger and we can be friends again." After setting the table, he waited patiently for Elizabeth to return. Minutes turned to hours, but there was no sign of her. Finally, the door opened. Leping's face lit up with excitement. Elizabeth's back, he thought, rushing to the door. But to his disappointment, it was Holy Sword Alpha and Wang Kai. Looking at them, Leping sighed and said, "Oh, it's Alpha and the others. Did you see Elizabeth outside?"